Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to do something a little bit different today. And honestly, it's going to be incredibly fun. We are going to master the art of script writing, but we aren't just going to sit here looking at dry, boring templates. Oh no. We are going to build our knowledge by uncovering the freezing, absolute mind-bending mysteries of the Earth's bottom. By the end of this, you will know exactly how to take cold, hard facts and transform them into an absolute masterpiece of visual storytelling. Picture this. Dawn breaks across the plains of the Serengeti, bathing it in a soft light that makes the landscape seem almost ethereal. The shrill sounds of birds, insects, and other wildlife fill the air. They have all emerged for the exact same reason. The dry season has ended. There is life once again. And scene. You know, that is exactly how a pro does it. Notice how a delivery like that just instantly grabs your attention? I really had to pull out my absolute best David Attenborough impression there, because that's a genuine example of a professional, award-winning documentary script style. But today, we're writing our own. We're going to take some of the wildest, most unbelievable facts about Antarctica and use them as a live case study to build a gripping documentary script entirely from scratch. So here is our roadmap for today's masterclass. First, the art of the script. Second, researching the frozen continent. Third, developing a deep plot. And finally, fourth, writing the final narrative. We're just going to follow this proven 4-step framework to turn raw, icy data into a completely captivating story.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the art of the script, laying the foundation.
Just like the industry pros over at Voice 123 do, we need to clearly define our direction notes so our narrator knows exactly how to deliver that sense of awe. Because a script isn't just dialogue, right? It's a blueprint for a performance. By setting our audience, our tone, and targeting a mature, authoritative style, think Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough, we are actively commanding the pacing. We want a nice, deliberate, slow to normal pace here, just so the sheer massive scale of the information can properly sink into the listener's mind. We're going to strictly follow a really straightforward 4-step creative process to construct our meta-documentary script today. We've already chosen our type. We're doing an expository nature documentary, so now we get to move into the heavy lifting. And let's be real, a script is only ever as good as the truth it reveals, which brings us perfectly to our next step.
Moving right along to section 2, researching Antarctica, gathering raw facts.
Now, what's really wild is that a massive portion of what we actually think of as the Antarctic continent, it's literally just floating. Ice shelves fringe an astonishing 75% of Antarctica's coastline. We are talking about an area of floating ice that is roughly the size of Greenland. Setting the scene in our script requires us to convey this massive, frankly precarious scale right out of the gate. And to give our script some real, authentic texture, we've got to know the glaciology lingo. We can't just call absolutely everything an iceberg. The scale starts with these beautiful, relatively small ice fragments floating in the freezing water. They're called growlers. Now, these are less than 2 meters across, but they are a vital, beautiful part of the Antarctic visual tapestry. And from there, the ice just brilliantly scales up. So from growlers, we move up to what are called burgee bits, which are these medium-sized chunks up to about 5 meters across. And of course, that eventually leads to the colossal icebergs that calve off the main shelves. Some of these are so impossibly large that they take decades to melt, and you could literally land a helicopter on them. This natural progression of size is just perfect for building visual momentum in our documentary. Okay, so a really crucial point in our research phase is finding compelling contrasts. Did you know that about 34 million years ago, thanks to super high carbon dioxide levels, this freezing desert used to look way more like a tropical paradise covered in lush coniferous forests? But today, it averages a mere 0.4 inches of rainfall in some areas, which officially makes it the driest, coldest, windiest ice desert on Earth. This is exactly the kind of mind-blowing context that hooks a viewer completely. Which brings us to section 3, developing a deep plot, shocking your audience. We can absolutely shock our audience by revealing that there are 138 volcanoes hiding right beneath the ice of West Antarctica. 138. That makes it the largest volcanic region on the entire planet. Just imagine the narrator's voice dropping an octave to describe liquid fire literally boiling miles beneath the coldest ice on Earth. And we're going to immediately follow that up with this staggering number, 45
1,000. That is the number of meteorites scientists have plucked straight from the Antarctic ice. Because the continent is essentially a dry, white desert, it acts like this massive cosmic time capsule. The stark contrast of dark space rocks against that pristine white ice just makes it the perfect hunting ground for ancient galactic history.
Then, boom, we punch the plot in with this. 71 million. That represents the 71-million-year-old dinosaur and bird fossils discovered under the snow on James Ross Island. It perfectly proves our earlier point about the continent's tropical past, and it provides a huge narrative payoff for the viewer. Dinosaurs roaming in Antarctica. I mean, it just shatters everything you thought you knew. Think about how these facts build our visual plot by juxtaposing that sterile white ice against some truly bizarre natural phenomena. In the McMurdo Dry Valleys, we literally have bloodfalls, a 5-story crimson cascade caused by ancient iron-rich nanospheres instantly rusting the second they hit the open air. And then there's watermelon snow, this vibrant neon pink and green snow caused by toxic algae spores. It paints a picture of a world that is vibrant, totally alien, and highly dangerous. But hey, every great script needs a breather, right? A moment of levity? We can easily inject a little humor into the plot here by highlighting the sheer absurdity of nature. Enter the see-through fish. This is a bizarre marine animal that adapted to the freezing waters by simply evolving completely transparent blood with 0 hemoglobin. It's an animal that literally decided blood color was completely optional. And finally, we arrive at section 4, writing the narrative, weaving the story. Now, to make our script truly Webby-worthy, we've got to follow some best practices. We need to focus heavily on emotional value. We need to seamlessly connect our contrasting ideas, like that fire under the ice we talked about, and above all, keep the narrative absolutely sincere. But most importantly, we need to rely on highly specific details to really anchor the massive, frankly incomprehensible scale of the Antarctic continent. Here is a perfect example of what I mean by a highly specific detail, the loneliest ATM. To really help the audience grasp the utter isolation, we note that at the McMurdo Research Station, there is a solitary Wells Fargo cash machine that actually holds a Guinness World Record. It serves the scientist station there, and it is hundreds of miles from literally any other ATM on Earth. It gives the audience a wildly relatable sense of scale and totally humanizes this desolate landscape. As we build up to our script's climax, we describe this specific, incredibly eerie moment. Scientists who were studying ancient climate data dropped a block of ice down a 450-foot cylindrical drill hole. And because of the Doppler effect, where the sound waves were rapidly bouncing around the narrow tube as the ice fell, it created this bizarre pew-pew sound, ending just like a spaceship with a low heartbeat. Including this thick atmosphere of tension and mystery is exactly what makes a script totally unputdownable. We can close out our documentary's narrative by describing the haunting, continuous song of the vibrating ice dunes. The massive Ross Ice Shelf literally hums. Winds whip across the ice dunes, creating this continuous, low-frequency vibration that scientists say sounds exactly like a massive swarm of late summer cicadas. It's just an eerie, profoundly beautiful fade-out for our story. And that brings us to the end. We've taken raw facts about floating ice shelves, hidden volcanoes, and transparent fish, and we've successfully structured them into a real narrative journey. But remember, a truly great explainer or a masterful documentary script never just ends, it lingers. So, as we look out over the singing, frozen desert of Antarctica, I'll leave you with this. What other ancient secrets are singing in the dark, right beneath the ice?